What?
You don't know country music. See?
I don't.
See that?
No, I don't.
He didn't get the reference, Chris.
No. Chris,
Well,
what do you want us to go by Chris, or do you want us to go by Plexomatic? What would you like?
Chris is good, or Plex, one of the two, whichever one you want to use.
We'll exchange
Use
back
both.
and forth.
Yeah, we'll switch it
do
up.
A little bit of both, you know?
The guy with the sweet hat.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How are you doing, man?
Fantastic. I just got off work, so I'm exhausted.
Oh.
I literally walked in the door when you said we're ready. So.
Oh no, there's no rush. There's no rush. Yeah, I just saying we were literally we always take about a half an hour to get set up. So
we can hit pause if you need to take a nap.
Yeah, if you want to go take
we can talk for a little while.
Yeah.
Make fun of you how you
we'll
snore
come back
or something.
to you in about 15
Yeah. Just put the phone down. You're like, look
it's all
at his
good.
nose.
Yeah. Man,
it's
so
all good.
Things are good?
Fantastic, man.
Dude.
Fantastic.
Chris, it's been too long. It's embarrassing how long it's been since we hung out, but
I don't hang out with anybody, so I always say that with everybody.
I'm blaming the pandy.
I'm embarrassed every time I see someone. Like, haven't seen you in like probably a couple years, mind you.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly, everybody kind of went into hibernation mode when that stuff happened, right? So
you can swear. It's okay.
You can
swear.
Cool, because I slip.
I heard you. Wait a minute. Stuff.
That was a good censor. So, Chris, for the people that don't know who you are or what you do.
Yeah.
And for us, since we haven't seen you in such a long time, who are you and what do you do?
Like, what do you mean?
You were the previous artist of Whythouse and Now Again, right?
Yeah. So
back kicking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Whythouse, we were a thing back in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah. On MuchMusic, I'm pretty sure I saw you on MuchMusic, didn't I?
Absolutely. Yeah, we were a thing. A Canadian urban pop group at the time. And we had our run, man. We went straight from I'm going to say from 1999 till 2005, we were a thing. We were signed, did tours. We toured with De La Soul. I mean, who can say that, right? Who can say we toured with Rob Bass and that's going back, Well, I mean, there's people that can say it, but
yeah, I
don't care about those people.
I could say it too, but it's not true. So yeah.
You're a liar.
So now I Whythouse was reinvented. I'm a little more mature in my music, and during the pandemic, I think a lot of people really started to reevaluate what they wanted to do in life.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
we had a lot of time to sit and think about
stuff.
And there's stuff I wanted to get done, right? There's things I wanted to finish. There's blah blah blah. And because I was doing music production on other people, that kind of stopped because no one could come over and work in the studio. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? And I woke up one morning and something hit me. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a track. And I got together with my old partner, Kevin Perkins at the time. He used to be in the band before too. And we did a track called Slow Motion.
Yeah.
And for shits and giggles, we said, fuck it. We're going to release it. And man, like 2 months, 250,000 streams. It just blew up.
God.
Yeah.
I can't even say that about anything we've released once. 250,000, like we go by downloads. I don't know if it's
had a 250,000 people not watch it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like, what the hell it is that he's doing?
That's awesome, man. Congrats on that.
No, that's great.
Yeah. So obviously we needed to come together and figure out, okay, what do we do now? Do we back it up with another track? And we put a track out called Running With, which is a complete opposite of it. And it is a hip hop track, diss track against gold diggers. And the guys, it's actually a track about the bitches that get taken by the gold diggers. But people look at it like we're talking about the woman, but we're not. So that track blew up too. And it's like, damn, what are we going to do? And at the time, Kevin was like, man, I'm moving to Trinidad. And I'm like, shit's happening, dude. You can't move. Right? Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? He's like, I got to go. And I'm like, okay. So Slow Motion had that country kind of vibe, but still had the hip hop vibe to it at the same time too,
Mm-hmm.
like with the beats and stuff. And I came down to the studio again one morning, and I'm like, I need to back this up. I need to do another track. And I came up with She Said Hi, and boom, it blew up too. So yeah, that started it all off. And I said, oh, looks like I'm doing a country pop urban genre smash album.
Yeah.
Right?
You have like a very like Sam Hunt kind of feel.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot, especially from interviewers. Like I did one yesterday with the Indy 500 podcast, and he said the same thing. He was like, one record, or one song, they call it records down in the States.
Yeah.
For some reason, but one song you sound like Sam Hunt, and then the next I'm hearing like vibes of Stevie Miller, and then I'm getting like cozy old classic rock, and then I hear this song with Jennifer Alvarado called Stars Collide, and I had to check to see if it was even the same group, and I'm like, hey, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, man. Man.
So let's take a quick step back here.
Yeah, let's go back in time. I really want to hear kind of like more of your story, and I think our listeners would be too. It'd be pretty rad. So like, not to like, okay, let's go way back. I want to know like 1998, like 1997, what was going on, and how that all started for you. How, like, if that's okay, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. And I got nothing to hide. I'm not ashamed of it either. So, I mean, I'm from Toronto, born and raised. I'm from Rexdale. And if anybody's watching this that knows the Toronto area and what Rexdale is about, it's not an easy place to live. So I was out of the house pretty early in life, and I still wanted to stay in school, but I couldn't afford to live without doing things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. So I worked a lot of jobs after school and blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't paying the bills. So I moved to other things. And other things were illegal at the time. They're not now.
Yeah.
So I was selling a lot of pot. And I mean, I'm
potted,
out on the
potted
corner.
plants, you mean, right? Of course, potted plants. Yeah. Floral arrangements.
So I'm out on the corner a lot of hours, and the demographic I come from is primarily a hip hop demographic. Like, so I'm on the corner with friends, and we're banging beats, and we're spitting rhymes, and that's where I learned to rhyme. And I ended up hooking up with a guy named Box. His name is Paul Jarvis, who was in a group called the Rasta Survivors back in those days too, that did big things. Chris Shepherd and all those people were all involved in him. And then I decided, hey man, the music's what I want to do, right? So moving along a little further, this is actually through Box, I met Kevin Perkins, who is the gentleman that was in the group with me before. And at that time, like, nobody was looking for battle rappers and street thugs to do shows in their clubs and their bars. Like, the hip hop scene in Canada was just, no, we can't have that.
Really?
We just can't have it. So we're like, well, how are we going to get shows? How are we going to actually try and do something with this if no one's going to give us a break? So 2000 kind of hit around, and the Black Eyed Peas kind of hit the scene. And we're looking at this pop, hip hop with vocalists, singing the hooks, and they're funky. They're getting, they were huge, massive.
Yeah, they're great as long as they don't sing the American national anthem. They're okay.
Well, she can't sing anyways, right? But
she's just a face. So, no offense to Fergie fans, but
yeah, she's got a face that was like on fire, and somebody stomped it out.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's like the chick that was at the end of the bar,
Yeah. Get hit with a bottle. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
catching them.
we were like, why don't we put together, find some vocalists? So we started looking for a male R&B singer and a female singer. And we managed, we cut through all the tape, and we settled with a guy named Steve McElroy. Amazing singer. Still to this day, he's actually doing country now too, which is funny.
Wow.
And Shelley Cowan. And then we had it. And then we just started, recording tracks. And then all of a sudden we started getting shows, right? Because we were clean, right?
Yeah.
It's poppy, it's hip, all these things that they were looking for. Is that we got forced to do it in order to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided to try and record a record, which we did. The record was called Brick by Brick. And our big tune was called Hold Tight. It actually charted across Canada. And we got picked up by a record label called Attack Records.
Wow.
The guy that owns that label, his name is Mark Berry. This guy is a producer. He produced Funky Town, the song Funky Town. Okay.
Wow.
So he signed us to a deal. He's the one that pushed our record distribution wise, publishing, all this other kind of stuff. And then we went on a couple more years. We were doing tours with big acts. Like we were on tour with Sean Desmond, Maestro Fresh West, Melanie Durant, Snow. We were on with Blue Rodeo and Sam Brown. Yeah, like, and the funny thing about that, getting on bills with those guys, was we were unique, and we actually went out and seeked a band. We had a band.
Yeah.
Behind the vocalists as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So to see, 9 people up on stage, all choreographed, this was unheard of back in those days, because everybody sang off of a CD, right? They were lip syncing, and they were a dance show basically. We weren't that. We were a full deal, right? And then some falling out happened.
Shoot.
And this was probably in 2004, 5. And we all parted ways. That was it. Record label said, fuck it. You guys aren't together no more. No point in going on.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of basically the history of Whythouse. And a lot of people are like, why did you pick the name Whythouse? Right. And the reason was because Kevin and I used to live in a white house, and we would hold these weekend parties and battle. People would come in, and we'd have a big bash, and then towards the end of the night, we would battle rappers that were coming in, right?
Wow, man.
And
that's awesome.
It was kind of like some 8 Mile shit up in there, right? And that's how we got coined the name, actually, was those guys in the White House. And we were on this corner lot, right? So we kept it, and we took the color, and we spelt it different to try and eliminate the color thing, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't work. People still spell it the White House, like the White House, or
instead of WHY.
Yeah, WHYTE house, right?
Yeah.
When it's WHYTHOUSE, things like that. But that's how we got coined the name, right? So it's kind of cool.
So, like, growing up before, like when you were a kid, were you always into, like, I know you're saying you grew up in a rough area, so you were always around hip hop, and you were always around like that kind of genre. Yeah. So, like, what was some of the first bands you listened to? You're like, man, I love this. This sounds really great in my ears. Like, what was the first band that was like kind of like that for you?
Yeah. So the influences musically, though, weren't from the street. They were from my parents. My dad was a rocker, and my mom was into the Motown and the disco and the R&B stuff. So I was subjected to everything. But as far as inspiration, Zeppelin is probably one of my most inspiring. Now, I don't try and emulate anything that they do, but just musically, all that kind of stuff, I fell in love with it, right? Yeah. Classic rock is a big inspiration for me. I write in that kind of way as well, so it's kind of unique nowadays to hear somebody doing that. So yeah.
I always ask that question because Ernie and our dad has no offense, Dad, but you have terrible taste in music. Horrible. His taste in music is not so like Roxette and like he really likes that album, the Christmas
album.
album.
Top Gun. It was the only CD in his stupid car.
He really liked the album of Top Gun, like the soundtrack. Like I'm very confused at what made him rock out.
He's into the soft stuff.
Right? Yeah.
Well, see, and I went through a stage where I only listened to like slow R&B because I was all about girls, right? It's like, oh, this song's gonna get me laid, right? This one right here, this Jodeci track is dope. Right? It's just like
here I am thinking.
And I mean, that was the thing, right?
Yeah,
you'd make a mixtape for a girl back in the day. You'd like slip it over. It's all these slow jams.
Ernie thought he was getting girls. Hang on. No. Ernie thought getting those pretty blue lights under his car would make him look cool.
Shit.
Suck it.
You see him pull it up. He's got those pretty blue lights.
You know what it got me?
You knew that he wasn't buying you a meal because he couldn't afford it.
It's awesome.
Because I had to keep fastening those stupid things because they kept falling off.
Oh, and then where you broke them?
Yep.
Oh, he was pissed. Anyway.
Yep.
Not to divulge.
Stupid underlights. That was the worst investment I've ever made in my life.
Hey man, you're trying to figure it out in life. You were just trying to see what defines me as a man.
Yeah.
And you thought pretty blue lights under your car.
And let's put a stereo in my car so that way I can go deaf.
Yeah. Giant 12-inch like sub in the
back.
back.
It was way too loud. And now I'm like, what?
Huh?
What?
Pardon?
Yeah, made a great decision in life.
That's awesome. Well, and I think for that though, there was a place for that. And don't get me wrong, Ernie probably did score some chicks because of that.
One, and I'm still with her, so it kind of worked, I guess.
Yeah. You married her.
Right.
You ruined it, man. You ruined it. I hope she doesn't watch this.
I settled,
yeah. She doesn't listen to this.
Oh, she does. I'll have to play it for her.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So was that your full-time gig up until 2004? Like just music, or did you also have a full-time job?
I still had to work, man. I mean, the reality is music in Canadian music in general, if you're not popular in the US or other markets, they really take no notice of you until you are, right? Mm-hmm. So money-wise, I mean, don't get me wrong. I did well money-wise as far as the music was concerned, but there wasn't the fame or that I was expecting at the time. Mm-hmm. Now I don't give a shit. Now I'm putting out music, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, I kick the can pretty good for it. And that's how I look at it now. I'm so surprised the way that things are happening currently. It's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I just got some really good news, and we'll get into that later if you want to know.
We're here to hang out and talk to you, man.
All the juicy info.
I want to hear what type of.
So when Whythouse fizzled out there, now were you still producing music at that time then?
Absolutely. That's where Plexomatic Beats comes in.
Okay.
Right? Like my stage name with Whythouse when I was doing hip hop and this pop rap thing was Plex, right? And when I retired from performing and doing my own stuff, it moved to Plexomatic Beats because it was automatic to me. And that's why I named it Plexomatic, because I had to do it. It was just an urge, right? So, yeah.
I thought Plex would have had to do
a lot of young hip hop artists.
Yeah.
Like a lot. So.
Really?
I thought it had to do with Flex because it looks like you're lifting cars and like saving kittens from trees.
Yeah. I could get some.
There was a time, like I haven't been to the gym in over a year, and I'm like kicking myself for it, but this record has taken all my time. But yeah, there was a moment, last 5 years, I was pretty jacked.
Yeah. I'm like, he's going to turn green and take down the city.
How can I hire him for security?
Yeah. Well, I was sitting at around 235 and not very fat. We'll just put it that way. So right now I'm about 2.25, but I'm kind of fat. I'm getting fat.
Who's counting?
Who is it?
Yeah. That's old man stuff. I mean, I'm a little guy. I'm not young.
Yeah. I chase the kids around. That's the running I do.
There it is. Me too.
Yeah. So, like you said, you were influenced quite a bit because of the music that your parents listened to. I want to know, like, what kind of music is your daughter into listening to right now?
Oh God.
Don't say TikTok because I'm gonna jump out the window with mine too.
That's not a set of music.
Yeah, no,
The style.
so as a 7-year-old, she's into like the top 40 stuff.
Okay.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
All right.
she's whatever's being played on the radio that's been
Yeah.
drilled into these kids' heads, which is just absolutely horrible. It is what it is, right? But I can tell you, my kid can sing, and I expect her when she's older to do something with it because I'm blown away. Her pitch and tone and everything's like she can mimic like nobody's business. I was just like, I'm listening to her. I'm like, what the? I was just shocked, right?
Wow.
Are you getting her into piano?
Well, if she shows interest, right? I'm waiting for her to come to me.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to push it. So if she's around this all the time, so she's kind of like, are you really recording again? She doesn't hold it back, right? She's like, Dad, your pitch is horrible.
Wow.
You need to redo that one.
Wow. That's a good ear. That's awesome. Already 7. Man.
Yeah. But she's been around it her whole life, right? So she sees it and hears it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's got a program on her phone that she can make beats with. It blows your mind. It blows my mind. She's doing these trap beats and she's 7. And it's just like, just goes to show that you can make a trap beat and you're 7. Right? So
Yep. I think I was making a mud pie.
7?
Or jumping my bike off sweet ramps.
I'm just trying to keep your finger out of your nose.
Yeah.
That's the thing about kids now. We have no idea. Like, I mean, you guys grew up with the internet. I didn't. And so now I'm kind of like, I mean, I grew up with it, but I was there from the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys were too. I don't know your age group.
In my teens, I think that's when it started to come out. I think it was like 13 or something like that.
When we were like 12, 13.
But you can imagine being born into that. Like that's you got to think about how different life is now with social media with these kids and how one post can ruin a kid's reputation all through school.
What?
Oh, it's unbelievable, right?
And wow.
And I mean, this my daughter, she has a phone, like it's not hooked up, but she has it so that she can hook up to the Wi-Fi and watch her kids' YouTube and all that stuff, right? And she maneuvers through that like a boss. It's just like whatever, okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's it's a whole like you're saying, it's a whole different like generation of kids that are just like, that's so scary though. Like, man.
Yeah, but what do you do though? Do you hold them back? Because even my 3-year-old's just like, oh, YouTube, I can unlock your phone now. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I hold her back? And then she's the one kid that's like, what is a telephone? She gets into grade school, right?
No, you got to let them go. You got
right. You got to watch though, because I did catch the one video that, you know, the ones that they say like they do the parodies of the kids ones, and it was Peppa Pig. And sorry, Nana, but they go, it's Peppa Pig, and he goes, I'm going to put on my yellow, and instead of boots, it says penis. And it was like doing like this voiceover for like every other word was like, I'm going to jump in the penis. I'm like, what in the hell are you listening to?
So it was like a video that they re-edited.
Yeah, they redubbed it. Yeah,
but just like to make kids,
just to mess with kids.
Who does that?
I don't know.
Sounds like we should send Chris over
Sounds
there.
like a funny TikTok video. I'm gonna send Hulk over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like now you were doing production. Were you doing production for like a whole bunch of different styles of bands, or was it just kind of predominantly like your style?
Hip hop and rap.
Yeah, it was all like hip hop primarily, pop.
Yeah.
But mostly hip hop. These young ones, it taken like, and it took me a lot of adjustment with jumping out of the boom bap style of hip hop and things like that, because these kids have different terminologies too. Like the new word goofy means something, right? And I'm just like, goofy. You call somebody a goof back in my day, you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, all right. So it took me a lot of adjusting to trying to figure out, okay, the new lingos and things like that, new styles. But once I got there, I was just like, man, this is like, I could do this in 5 minutes. What do you need? It's that simple, right? it's not my thing anymore. And this is the reason for the new record and the direction that I'm going in. I want something that's got a little bit of substance to it. Has something that you can vibe with, and it's it'll be relevant from 10 years from now.
Right.
You know? That's what I'm looking for. And the search, and I mean, maybe not every song on this record is like that, but there's quite a few that I know about 4 or 5 years from now, people will still listen to it. So it's,
well, I tried listening to it when you sent it to me last week, and it didn't want to load up on my iPhone. You weren't impressed that I had an iPhone, so I don't know.
no, I wasn't. That's for girls. I mean, sorry, that's just, redundant. It takes up space.
I will have to. I'll have to sit down and listen to it. My favorite thing to do is when I get an album, I sit down and I try to listen to it the whole way through. It's something I like to do, and I can enjoy it. But it's very rare that I can hear a piece of music from a couple songs that I'm kind of into it. But like hearing the singles that you dropped and a couple of the like this album, I think I saw the video today. I was watching with. I was gonna ask you about this. Mm-hmm. Was it scary for you to have a video where you were laying in bed with your wife? Like, I'd be like, ooh, like first thing, my wife would never do that. I'm like, you must have a pretty cool wife to just be like, yeah, I'll be in your music video.
Yeah. Well, the song "Let It Roll" is actually, that song is about my wife and me and my kid. My kid's in the video too.
Yeah.
It's a family thing. I mean, COVID did some real crazy shit, a lot of people got divorced. A lot of people tried to, reevaluate. Do I want to be in a relationship with this person? Things like that. You were stuck in the house with people when, normally I go to work or whatever, right? Now, not saying that my wife and I had an issue. We didn't. But what I'm saying is we didn't get to go out and enjoy just each other. Right? We didn't get to get time off and away from our kid and out of the house and go and enjoy and do something for ourselves. So "Let It Roll" is just that. It's date night, finally, after 2 fucking years of being locked up. The kid's gone to a friend's house for the night. We're getting it on. And that's exactly what that song was, right? So,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was a nice track.
And that song was written exactly with that in mind, because that's exactly what it was. And the video, how we did the video was we shot like these home video clips of me and my wife just being ourselves. And then we threw in the performance side of it with the car and being outside doing the song. And then chopped it in and placed it where it needed to be to tell the story of this guy's getting some, and he loves his lady. So
yeah, awesome, dude. It was so cool. Yeah, I was gonna ask the production side of making a music video and like what that was like, and like so you have like a team or like I don't know anything about making music videos, so I have no idea.
So that video was shot with my phone.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So was it an iPhone?
It's an Android. So there's a thing like this.
Oh.
It's called a gimbal.
Yep.
Okay, your phone goes in this and it stabilizes the phone. The phone shoots in 4K, right? And it allows you to do those sweeping shots, those pro sweeping shots, right? So my good friend Kieran is the gentleman that produced the video for me and shot the video. He used a gimbal, and we set up, where we were going to do this, when we were going to do it, what we were going to do first. So initially, I said to him, we sat down and we planned out the treatment on how we were going to do it. And basically, one day we came into my place because the video was shot in my house. And we set up the areas that we were going to shoot in. And I said, we're only doing storyline stuff today. So he shot the storyline stuff. And then the next day we went out. My good friend Lee Sipes lent me his 59 Ford Fairlane, Johnny Cash car.
ED car.
We blacked out, me and my wife. No, my wife's black, but no.
I know what you mean.
I know what you meant.
And we shot it at Kieran's house. He's got this very rustic, country-looking style house. Yeah, and that was it, man. Kieran kicked ass. He took some amazing shots, and produced it. So what we do is we grab all those shots, put them in, and then we lay it. I wanted a retro vintage kind of feel to the song because it's got a Motown feel to it,
Yeah.
Motown country soul feel to it. So I wanted the song to have a bit of a retro filter over top of it, which he did, and man, it came out perfect. My opinion, it cost me $0 except for paying him to help me out, and
Yeah.
that video would have cost me 30 grand 20 years ago.
No way. What?
Yeah.
$30,000. And I guess like technology and the things we have day to day just make it easier. Like you saying, your phone does the 4K. So
exactly. Well, 20 years ago, the digital age wasn't really kicking it.
Yeah.
Right. So everything was filmed on a camcorder. Then you had to chop all that tape.
Oh,
the hours and hours it takes to make a music video back in those days was massive. Right.
It'd be hard to like stone tablet the pictures in that too, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks, so when you're making the video, is the music playing in the background so you guys can like vibe with it, or like are you just vibing to nothing? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so we just carry along a Bose speaker.
Okay.
I turn that bad boy up, and we lip sync or sing to it for timing and all that stuff, and then it makes it easy because he can hear it on the video, right? Like on the live shots.
Yeah.
So then when he goes to put it, the music
It's
to
easy
it,
to sync it.
Yeah. It's boom. It's easy work.
Yeah.
Man, that's so cool.
So like from doing your own songs, would you be opposed to like if somebody like if you were say you had like a really great song in your head, but you were having a hard time trying to put like the notes on paper? Would you be opposed to like buying like I know you can buy tracks from other people that have produced stuff like that. Would you be opposed to doing that, or are you pretty much like you're set on doing everything on in-house?
I'm pretty much set on doing everything in-house, but if I find something that that I know is way better than I could do, I'd probably talk to them. But the big thing with money and credits and mechanical royalties and things like that, if you go and lease a beat or buy a beat, like these guys that sell these beats online for like $100 or whatever, you're just leasing it, right? So if you do something on it, when you go to submit that into Spotify or wherever you're going to distribute your music, you still got to give him his 50% of the song, right? Because he's
so how do they call that buying it then, Chris?
You're not buying it, you're leasing it. You'd have to buy it exclusive. So what that means is you can purchase, some guys sell it for like $250 to $500 or whatever, right? But you still, when it goes to mechanical royalties in play, he still owns the rights to the music unless he signs it over to you. And usually most guys aren't going to do that. So
is that so? I'm just so I can wrap my head around it. I'm don't know anything about this. So like I know that Emily, when she came on the podcast, we talked about Taylor Swift. Now, was there something that happened with her with the production guy or her producer or something? What's his name again?
I have no idea, but she was trying to buy all her tracks back, and then she's re-recording them though.
Yeah. So then she re-recorded her own tracks, so they were hers or something. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Absolutely. So she sang on somebody else produced her music. So the production side, like you can write your song and sing it, but if somebody makes your music for you, you only own 50% of the song that's released.
Wow.
So you lose a lot of money. Like if you're a superstar like Taylor Swift, I mean, God, that's huge money, right?
Oh, I can only imagine.
Oh,
it's like millions.
Probably billion.
No way.
Oh yeah. Because like splitting it, she's probably worth 80 million, 90 million dollars a year easily, right?
Right.
But that's her half.
Oh my God.
Right.
And then the other guy,
and then when she's performing, sorry, Jerry, but when she's performing it as well, right? Like she would have to be paying him as well to be performing his song, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I think so. Just so you guys know, I think the same guy. I'm going to get an email about this. The same guy he produced her. He's the same guy who produces Justin Bieber stuff.
Bucky or whatever his name is.
I think it's the same guy. I'm pretty
It's
sure.
possible. I mean, Bieber's got a bunch of different guys. Bieber doesn't write his music either, right? Like that song Georgia, Peaches or whatever, Peaches. There's 15 writers involved in that song.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's a simple song. What?
It absolutely is. But there's 15 people involved in that song. I heard it on the radio because they were talking about if the song gets a Grammy, if a song gets a Grammy now, anybody involved in the song now gets one. Right?
That's 15.
So they were talking about 15 people on that song alone were getting paid or getting a Grammy. And I'm just like, I'd rather do it myself. I want to keep myself indie, but at the same right, I want to try and get my shit out to the masses, obviously, right? And I've been accomplishing that slowly but surely. I'm charting all over the US and Canada. I'm probably on about 400 or 500 radio stations right now. 7 of the songs on my 10-song album are all getting radio play right now. And like the one with Jennifer Alvarado, she's an American. She was last year's Independent Country Artist of the Year. Her name's Jennifer Alvarado. She's on a song with me called Stars Collide. And that song this week was number 42 on the Canadian Independent Country charts. It's a national chart. We started at 99 4 weeks ago.
No way, man! That's like a more than half.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Have you heard any of your tracks? Like you've been like driving around. Have you like tuned in when they were gonna play it? Like what's that like?
Yeah, I've heard it a lot. Thing is right now, and we can get into this because this is really important. If you've got independent artists listening, you'll never get your song on big boy radio unless you're signed to a label,
like a major label.
Yeah. Or you sell gold.
Like
you have to be a gold record sales in order to get there.
What do you think you are?
A miner.
You're mining?
I was like, I don't know.
I'm
sorry. I don't know anything about the music industry. Nothing. I just know that like I have Spotify. I listen to whatever I want.
Yeah. So check this out. When I released Slow Motion, okay, I was trying to get it on big boy radio everywhere. Right. I know Scott Fox personally on Z103, and he can't even get my shit on there. So I actually got into an argument with the national music director for Bell Media. She laid it to me, bro. Okay.
Say her name and then bleep it out.
I'm not going to say her name.
That's okay. That's like what we have bleeps.
That might blackball me.
Okay, no.
So she basically drew it out for me. She said, "Who are you? How many records have you sold? You know, how big's your tour? Are you charting are you on any other radio stations?" And she kept going. And I could say, no, not there. She's like, "You're not ready yet."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, how am I supposed to get on your station if I'm independent and I can't sell gold?" She goes, "You won't."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "There's only one way that you can do it without selling gold." And I'm like, "What's that?" She said, "You need to get on every independent radio station that you can, and you need to chart. And once you start charting, you're basically surrounding us. And once you start charting, we've pretty much got no choice but to put you on our station because you're getting played everywhere else."
Oh. I thought you were going to say they gave you a list of people you got to sleep with. I'm like, well, hey.
It's the only way. It's the only way. So then I took that info because the conversation turned nice in the end.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Good. Good.
I took that info and I dropped it and I just started going hard with it. Right. I started hitting up all the independent stations, all the internet stations, and my success rate for Whythouse material is probably 90% on submission. Like I'm getting radio play like crazy. But it takes up so much time for me to search out who's the music director, who's taking care of this. And it's a lot of work, right? Mm. But over the last, year, I've really, really pushed it. And Yeah, we're all over the place, man. This song is the songs are killing it. They're doing so well.
It's crazy to see how many radio stations there are like on the internet. Like I didn't even think that was a thing. Actually, our mutual friend Joel Cash and I were talking about starting one because we kept getting taken down from Facebook and Instagram for DJing live on there. And we're like, why don't we just start up an internet radio thing? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I went on and I couldn't believe like all the music that was on there.
Yeah. Well, see, there's a couple differences. I only shop our music to reporting stations.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
So, meaning I get paid for the spin. There's a lot of radio stations that are out there that don't. It's like you basically sign, yeah, you can go ahead and play my music. And I mean, there's value to it, but if that station's got maybe 20 listeners or whatever,
yeah,
who cares?
The streaming platforms are doing way better for me.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So the reality is I look for these stations that actually report the spins to SOCAN and the other performance rights companies so that I can get my money for the spin and that it's legitimately showing in the charts. It's legitimately showing the big boy radio that I'm getting radio play.
Oh.
Does Big Boy Radio, do they care about social media at all? Like how, like if say like you're trending really well? Oh, do they?
Absolutely. They look at that, but they look at sales more than streams.
Okay.
Now, in the streaming world, from what I understand, because it's really fucking confusing, I believe 10 to 12 saves on Spotify is classified a buy.
Oh, okay.
Streaming, I think it's like 100 streams is classified a buy, right? At $1 or whatever, right?
Okay.
I'm just so you know, I'm sitting at just under 3 million streams for this record.
Dude.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I haven't looked. I when you sent me that link, it went to Spotify, I think it was. Are you on iTunes as well?
On every platform you can think of.
Okay. Because I told you I got a wedding that I'm dropping a couple of your tracks on my my cocktail hour. No, they don't want country tomorrow. But
see, it's not even that though. It's like I call it country files because what I did was back in the day, we grabbed reggae, hip hop, and pop and smashed it together. So what I did was I grabbed country and I smashed hip hop beats and bass lines into it. Right. So when you listen to this, it's got that same. So hip hop heads can do this with it. You know, rockers get that. Oh, this guy sounds like Stevie Miller in this track. The country people is like, listen to that steel pedal guitar, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make that universal vibe so that multiple people from all genres can listen to this record. If you listen to this record from front to back, you won't get bored of it. 100% guaranteed. 100%.
Man. Yeah.
100%.
It's so cool to hear you stand behind your music so passionately. I think that's pretty inspiring. And yeah, and I love the thing you post all the time because I follow you on a couple social medias. You're just like your friends, like what is it? It says your friends ask have you made it yet, and then it says, well, have you spread? What is it? Have you shared my shit? Yeah, I love that post. I'm just like, because like Ernie and I can say the exact same thing for like the podcast. It's like people always ask, "How's the podcast doing?" And I'm always like, we're doing great. Have you listened to the newest episode? And they're like, no. I'm like, well,
it's doing that good.
And you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that, and it's so true. You know what? The big thing, Jay, is there's 7 billion people on the planet, and there's a chair for every ass.
Yeah. Okay.
And our circles, as big as they may be, are not fucking big. So just keep what you're doing. And this is the advice I give all artists, all podcast people, anybody in the entertainment business is somewhere out there. Someone, your podcast, my music is going to get to the right ears that it's supposed to get to.
Yeah. We just keep putting out the content. You know what I mean?
That's it.
And if you enjoy it like yourself, like if you're passionate about it, You just keep doing it because you love it. It's not because it's like it's like, I'm going to do this because I want someone to recognize me. It's like, we love doing it. Like you're saying, you love what you do. So you're just going to continue doing it. And like, it could even become a family thing. Once your daughter gets old enough, like you could be like producing for her. Like it's a passion project.
It's a family band.
Yeah. Take it on the road.
And bring it on.
So you were saying before, so like the newest track is moving really, really well, and you're really impressed with it. But you were gonna say something before you wanted to get into later on. I wasn't sure what you wanted to get into.
So my new news.
Yeah, your new news. Yeah.
This news, and I guess I'm breaking it on your podcast. I've been sitting on it for a little bit. I was speaking with. I actually called all the artists that are on the record with me to let them know. Which happens to be Prologic, aka Joby One. He's a rapper here locally. The guy's been in the game forever. And we got reggae artist Journey. I got to give props to the people that are on this record.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Jennifer Alvarado out of the United States, which was kind of cool to do that kind of a fast country duet. Anyways, back in April, before Let It Roll was released, I submitted it to Film and Television for sync. And yesterday I got a contract. It's going to be in a Netflix series. So
what? Dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So we when I got the contract, I was like, oh, this is crazy. And now this company, speaking with them, they want to take the entire record for film and sync. So
dude.
Yeah, so I'm going to sign a publishing agreement with this company and sync and licensing agreement. They work with Viacom, they work with Warner Brothers, Sony. They're 90%. They're basically anything that you're watching on Netflix, Prime, Hulu, any of these big platforms, as well as major motion pictures. This is the company that supplies them the music for that. So.
No way.
Man.
Dude, that's crazy.
Any idea what they're gonna put it on yet, or you just like
I have no idea yet. Yeah, I have no idea. So the next I'll know, but I just don't know yet. It's pretty it's in its infancy right now, but the confirmation, I have the confirmation. So it's cool.
Woo. Can I ask this question? So like is that money in the bank? Or is it just like
that is potentially that. Yeah, it's money in the bank for the episode that I did get on. But if more, because how film and television sync and publishing work is they take control of where the music goes. It can go on compilation records, commercials, blah, blah, blah. But it's not just the song. They'll take the music as well. So it's endless, right? But it could be life-changing. We'll just put it that way.
It's a foot in the door for sure if it's nothing else, right?
And then they could go, hey, so this really worked out with this last album. And they could be like, hey, could you have some more stuff that we could use? Kind of situation.
Absolutely. Well, and I have a catalog of over 1,000 instrumentals.
Right? Well, yeah. So we forgot to mention this.
Yeah, we got two.
Podcast,
we got two of them.
What?
We have two of his.
Yeah. So if people remember,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think it was it the first? Okay, I can't remember now.
It was the second one. We were shopping around for the second one.
Yeah, the second one, we did like a contest, and like a couple people said, I think we had 3 people send it in, and like yours was like, I was like, okay, this is.
It's close second, but the problem is I am like, once I get on something, I'm on it. I'm like a dog on a bone. I'm like, I want to make this one work. And I felt really bad because yours were like hitters, but I'm like, I had already found this one already, and I was like, oh, I feel bad because Chris, you knocked it out of the park. Both of them. One was like a West Coast kind of feel one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the other one was called. I can't remember the names of them, unfortunately.
But
I know it was like West
Coast.
Used
one of them.
Yes, we did. We did it for a couple of.
Yeah, you guys use that Moog or Moog vibe. That boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a hitter.
Yeah, that was cool.
So then I remixed that thing to make it work so it was short enough. And then I added a couple little instruments in there because I didn't really like how they had done it, and I added some extra stuff to it. But I'm
that
pretty
was
happy
cool
with
that we
intro.
did that for the first couple ones.
Yeah.
What do we do now? Which one do we use?
We got that one that I got that was
So the fun, and that's the cool thing is like
copyright free one.
Yeah, we try to like stay out of that range and make it our own. But
change the key a little bit.
But to our listeners, like if you go back to like the first maybe 15, what do you think? The first 15 episodes, the intro music, Chris made that for us.
Yep.
Well, not for us, you made it, but then like we used it.
You generously donated it.
Yeah, that was cool. Man, that was I felt like we were doing something.
See, we knew we had you before you were on Heartland, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not saying that's where you're going.
I had his shit before he made it.
Yeah. He signed it himself.
Like, the whole thing right now for me, fellas, the honest to God, I don't expect much. I expect the hard work that I put in to get a result out of it. That's it. I'm not expecting to, be the next, whoever superstar. If it happens, great. If a record label comes and says we want to sign you to a 5-album deal, cool. Show me the money. I'm good. I'll do it. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting, bow down to your ruler. I'm not there. I want to be real with my shit. And at the same time, I still want to be trying to make it as profitable as possible. Right. So
yeah, you want to get paid for all the work you're doing. And
absolutely. It's like countless hours.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You're a real guy.
Because there's the hours that everybody sees, but then there's all the hours that nobody sees that you're putting in, like making the beats, like you say, and like getting told by your daughter you're off pitch. And
yeah. Well, and just radio work alone is insane. I'm up to, like, I work 55-hour weeks at my job. Right. So the time away from the family to do this, my wife's been very supportive of it.
Doing podcasts and radio shows and
I've been doing a lot of these. And I was actually really looking forward to this one because I was bugging Ernie like months ago, right?
And then you messaged the right person.
I am
you gotta message me.
Horrible for getting back to people because I have I'm
saying this on the podcast now. Anything anyone wants to do regarding scheduling of the podcast, you message the podcast Instagram or me because it goes through him. Yeah, who the fuck knows where it goes?
Well, I was just like, okay, big shit's happening. These guys are my boys. I need to get on this shit. Like, let's go, boys, right? But I did a Leafs Nation one not long ago. I did one with a guy named Guido from The Path, on the go with Guido. He's actually a really cool guy out of Toronto. I mean, there's some good ones out there. I did one with this Night Talks Paranormal shit. I was like,
whoa.
Yeah, this guy was something. You should hear his voice, man. It's crazy cool. But I've been working a lot at trying to get, the message out there, who we are and all that kind of stuff. And I really appreciate you guys having me on, whether we know each other or not.
No, man.
I really do. So.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Happy to. Yeah, happy to.
But it's cool. Like, you got to put the work in. You have it's like a product, and then you work hard on it, and then like you're saying, like with when you're talking to that the Bell lady, she said we got to hear about you, and you kind of have to surround us, and that going on the radio shows and the podcast, that's part of it. It's like getting the word out there and spreading it, and then having the one person, like you said, that's gonna hear it and go, oh, they're gonna hear the podcast, check it on Spotify, and go, okay, I dig this. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think the big thing is that advice she gave me, it made so much sense. And as soon as I got off the phone with her, I put it into action, and I haven't stopped. It's kind of like, I'm not letting them win. I'm not a quitter. And this is technically my last real kick at the can. I'm 50, so it's kind of like, no one's going up there to see Dad. And that's another reason why I kind of moved towards the music genre that I'm doing right now, because I get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, look at you, what's that guy? Oh, his name just he was in the Rolling Stones. He looks
Mick
like
Jagger?
a skeleton. Mick Jagger's still dancing around on stage, and what's his
Well,
Paul
you're
McCartney
right.
looks like a skeleton.
But these guys are settled, right? These guys are established. That's
everyone and their mother knows who Mick Jagger and Paul McCartney are.
exactly.
I just learned who he was last week.
Well, you're dumb.
Oh, you guys.
He's that guy from that Bug band.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the business in itself is really tough. It's not for the weak,
No.
in any way, and it's not for people that want to half-ass anything. They got to go all in or don't. It's it, and that's for real. Like I've seen some shit. I've talked to a lot of people. There's a lot of dirt in the game, and there's a lot of people that are trying to mess with you or take your, just take your money to do nothing for you. You know, like promotion companies, radio stations that want the artist to play, so they play them. Like, really? Go out and get sponsors. You're a radio station. Go get a fucking sponsor to pay your bills and let the artist fucking bring people to listen to your station. Like, what's wrong with you? Right? But there's artists out there paying people so they can get spend to 5 listeners. It's a scam, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
These blogs, these musician blogs, they charge people to write up, and then they've got maybe 100 hits a month. It's like, really, you're going to pay that guy $150 for someone to maybe read your story on you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many people out there preying on independent music artists. It's unbelievable.
It's like
on the dream, playing on the dream.
Every other week we get an email on the podcast email. Hey, we can promote your podcast, or hey, send us $150 and we'll
we'll get more listeners.
Or on Facebook I get this long thing. I promote from, no offense, India. We have listeners in India, but this long.
I'm an SEO expert.
Yeah, I'm the SEO expert. I can get you on iTunes. I can get you on Spotify. Blah 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 blah. And it's a joke with Ernie and I. I always message them. What are you wearing?
Yeah, that's our new thing.
Nice.
Because I want to see if they're real.
What's for dinner?
I'm like,
no, they're real. They're real, but what their streams aren't real and their followers aren't real.
Yeah, it's Russian
it's all bots.
Yeah,
100%.
And we try to weed them out. I'm like, what are you wearing? What's your supper? What'd you have for lunch? I just want, and then some of them they'll go, what? And I'll just be like, nah, I don't want. Don't waste my time. Sorry, pal. I'm already on Spotify.
So when do we get to go see you guys live?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You gonna do a live show?
Well, hell no.
Okay.
So I actually got to ask this question not long ago, and it was from Al Yardy at KB Radio in London. We were doing an interview, and he said, "So when are you guys gonna go out and do some shows and blah blah blah?" I said, "I'm not doing any." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, I've done that, been there. And a lot of the times back in the day, I used to have to pay to actually play." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, you go and do a bar show and 90% of the time they won't pay you. They don't pay you. And they'll just say, oh, you can have a few beers at the bar and whatever, right? And while the bar makes $20K. So I've been through there and done that. So if somebody says to me, Chris, your songs are on the radio, they're doing really well, we want you to go on tour, the next question would be, how much?
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't need it. I work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the reality of this is this is the day of the internet, is the 40 people in the bar ain't going to pay your bills, no matter how many bars you play, right?
Yeah.
The 40,000 people in the stadium will pay your bills.
Yep. And then it's worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah. So
worthwhile.
I'm not playing. And I mean, I'm ready 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not doing any shows, and I might do an improv one here and there whenever I feel like it. But as far as committing to go and do bars and things like that, I did it already. I know what it's all about. We did the Canada Day event here in Waterloo, and there was 250,000 people there when we played their Blue Rodeo.
Oh, cool.
I didn't get paid for that, but the publicity alone from something that size, I do. Right? That's worth it. But 10 people, 20 people, 40 people at the bar really isn't.
Nah.
Now, if I'm doing really well and I'm popular and I know I'm going to pack that bar, that might be another option. But I want to get paid to pack that bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They're charging at the door. They're getting beer money like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I want a piece. Right?
Yep. Yep.
I feel bad for not asking this. Yeah, I feel bad for not asking this already. But like, what instruments on your track do you?
I was
you
gonna
take
ask you.
care
I was
of?
thinking the exact same thing.
I do all the production. Kenny Mays plays all those guitars, all the guitar. Kenny Mays is my guy, right? Now, how we do it is we usually come up with the music side of it. Get an 8-bar vibe to it, right?
Okay.
And then I write to it that 8 bars, and then him and I sit down and we do the production, right? I do pretty much the bass lines and the bottom end. He's the acoustics and the electrics, the banjos. It's all him.
You ever need a brass side?
Yeah.
Let me know.
Well,
Brass
see,
and country.
the cool thing is we've got one more song left to release on this record, and I'm going to get to that. Actually, we didn't release the whole record as a record. We released every song as a single. And we did that because of the day and times that we live in. People's attention spans are 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Yep. So the reality is okay, this is a record, but we're gonna put a song out every month until the record is released, and then we're gonna compile it as a record.
That's smart.
So we can get our stream money. No one's gonna, if you put out a record, 2 of your songs are gonna get, 3 of your songs are gonna get, a couple 100,000 streams or whatever, and then the rest are sitting there going, what the fuck, right?
Yeah, they're just dancing in the wind.
So we release each one as a single, and as soon as this last one, number 10, it's called Have It Back, is released, which will be probably at the end of July, then I'm going to compile it and reissue it as a record.
Now, am I correct in saying this a person has to listen to a track for 30 seconds for it to get to be a stream, right? Is that true?
It depends on the platform.
For Spotify. For Spotify,
yeah, I believe that's true.
30 seconds.
40 seconds.
So like in that first 30 seconds, musicians, and they have to kind of like get the hook. That's where the hook has to get in there to drag them through. And that sounds brutal.
To drag them through.
100% right. So when you listen to this record, you're going to notice I start with the hook on almost every track.
Smart.
Right? Yeah.
Smart, man.
So I mean, there was a lot of thought putting into how we're going to do it. Kenny and I sat down and planned pretty much every little aspect of it and wrote it down, followed it to a T, didn't waver. And the success rate that we're seeing as independent is just insane. Like for what we've put in as far as time, yeah, it's paying for it. But if I had a team, it'd be stupid.
Right. Yep.
It'd be stupid because the amount of time that I spend every day, I spend about 3 hours a day on just radio and promotion.
Man.
Right. Yeah. And then I got to worry about making the music and creating and writing and singing, which I never sang on a record ever. This is my first record that I ever sang on. So,
yeah.
I don't use auto-tune and I don't use bullshit. Right.
Yeah.
What you get is what you get. That's it.
Right. Right.
Well, proof is in the pudding, man. You got places coming towards you and saying, "Hey, we're going to get your music on Netflix." Like, shit, that's gotta feel good. Going to bed at night.
Oh, it did.
I have a nice.
I started stuttering. I started stuttering the day I found out.
Yeah, man.
Where have you noticed, like, when you're promoting to all these online? Now, I know they're not like subject to one certain area, but let's just say it's more of like a Texas style radio station. Or is there a certain like station that's more like picking you up more than other ones?
Yeah. So what's getting us the majority are indie stations, so various stations. So they play a mixture of almost everything.
Mm.
But as far as demographic, we get streamed in Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, New Mexico, Texas, Michigan, Ohio. Out west is huge. Out west Canada, they
Yep.
love this stuff.
You got to throw a couple more A's in there, but yeah.
It's made, this record's made for middle America, Canada. It's made for camping. It's made for long weekends. It's made for, drinking beers in the back porch. That's what it's made for. It's not made to go to the club and dance to it. Well, there's a couple tracks on there that you could do it to, but it's more to just kind of vibe.
It's not vibe, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not.
That's cool, man.
It's directed towards the blue collar. It's not, and below, of course. But it's I just wanted to keep it as real as possible. I am a blue collar guy. I didn't come up for money. I've never had it, all that kind of stuff. And the only thing that I really know truly about is what I spit on this record. Right. So,
man. So right now people can get a hold of all the music on what platforms, like Spotify, YouTube, like what's up?
Yeah, so Spotify, YouTube, Prime, Tidal, Deezer, pretty much every single one. Amazon, iTunes, Apple,
Google.
Yeah, Google Play. You find it everywhere. The big thing is you can find it on my website too, which is www.thewhythouse.com. And it's for sale there for $10 for the whole record. Can't go wrong.
Now, does that one get confused when people are like, I'm looking for the election page?
Yeah. Well, this is just it, right? That's why I emphasize the way we spell it, because if you spell it wrong, you might not find us, which is, it's horrible in one retrospect, because we didn't think about the internet back in those days, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you spell it out for people? Just so, and I'm also gonna make sure when the episode drops, it's correct too. Can you spell it out just for people?
WHYTHOUSE.
WHYTHOUSE.com.
That's it.
So is it available on CD or is it just digital?
It's just digital, but I've got something very unique coming down the pipe.
Like a vinyl, maybe?
Yeah, we were talking about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a USB stick record. I'm going to put the cover on the record, or the cover wrapped around the USB stick. It's going to be the only thing that you can do with this USB stick. And I'm going to sell those, right?
That's
because
cool.
Cars, you plug into cars.
Yep.
And that's where a lot of people are going to plug that into, is in the cars. And if they're at home, they're listening through the streaming platforms or YouTube or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do not listen to the radio.
The days of CDs are over, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you?
I guess
now,
I didn't think of that.
Vinyl would be kind of cool, but it's really fucking expensive. So that's a niche thing, right? Like someone's going to pay $70 for a record. I don't know. You'd have to be a super fan to do that, So
well, maybe you'll make it.
You got two guys that would pay it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna.
I'll put you down.
Jump on. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. So if they went on the website right now, they could download the whole album. Is that now?
You can actually listen to the whole album from my website too for free.
Oh.
You don't need a membership, nothing. You can listen to the whole thing and stream it right from my website. No problem.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Yep. Cool. I gotta have a hard copy so that way I can put it on Serato. So
the reality of this is no artist makes money off of album sales anymore because nobody buys music.
Yep.
And if they do, thank you. Right?
Do you see that full $10?
Yeah.
All right.
If it's on my website, I see that full $10. If it goes through Apple or a platform, they take like 20 cents or 25 cents for every dollar, I think. So I'm making $7.50, right?
Yeah, you could buy some Tim Hortons and a bagel.
Yeah.
For that? Yeah.
But I could also buy a house if 1 million people bought it. Right?
Yep. So 1 million records
Times
Yeah,
10.
7.5 million.
minus
Right.
25 because it was my idea.
The cool thing is I wrote and produced our stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% in ownership of my music. And that's what being independent is all about. But that's the downfall is not having that record company money behind you to make more.
And to promote it too, right? They probably do a lot of the promoting and all that legwork for you. So
yeah. Well,
you're putting in the work.
Is radio.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Streaming, even radio radio drives streams.
Yeah.
It really does.
Man, that's so cool.
Man, it's just awesome to see how far you've come, and it's just awesome to watch your progression in that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All your posts, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
It's like all the listens and all the downloads, and
for the 5 seconds I get to
it's
go
been
on my
incredible.
social media.
I can't lie. It's been a ride. And I'm proud. I mean, I'm proud of the people that are involved in the project, especially my partner Kenny Mays. This guy was so underappreciated from the last organization that he worked with. And man, the guy's a talented guy, and not just in playing music, but producing and engineering and stuff too. He's top notch. He's an older guy. He's a blues guy, right?
nice.
So he's got this. He's like, yeah, that's groovy, man.
One of
guys, right?
Yeah. Rad. That's
But
cool.
he's a good shit, and you know the Joby, Pro Logic being on there. This guy's a veteran rapper from way back, and still doing it. He's a producer as well. And when I asked him to do this track, "Lightning in a Bottle," where we smashed country, rap, and reggae on one track, and it works. He was like, let me have a listen, because that's kind of,
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's sending me the stems. He's like, I laid down 16 bars, bro. You got to check this out. And I'm like, so he felt it. And I'm like, so as soon as I listened, I loaded it up in my DAW system and I threw it on the track, and I'm like, fuck, this is fire, right?
Man.
And I already had some of the reggae bits that I had sang on the track already in there. And I was like, now I need a reggae artist. So I went out, and Kenny Mays went and grabbed Journey. His name's Fabian Williams, who's a reggae artist. And he's like, oh, I don't know, man. If I wanna play on this is country things and blah blah blah, right? He's talking all patois to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, just have a listen. And what does he do? Next fucking thing you know, 2 days later, there's a verse on there for him. And he's like, I love this, man, blah, blah, blah.
Wow. It's gotta feel good too.
We smashed it together, mixed it down. All of our stuff is mastered in Nashville. So we get that true, authentic mastering sound of get that country. It accentuates the country vibe, right? By getting it mastered by someone that listens to country and masters music. So we had it mastered that way, and the track is fire, right? It's doing so good,
man.
I
want to just jump off and listen to the whole thing now.
I hope you do. I
want to. No, I want. Yeah, I'm definitely going to, man. Like,
She Said Hi. That track is so good.
When's that drop?
I've already heard it.
It's already out.
It's already out there. It's been out for a long time.
Oh,
yeah, it's been out since
December
is when I dropped it. It's the
actually,
first
I played that one for Danielle, and she's like, "You know him?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're kind of besties. I know him." I'm like,
that thing's got like 500,000 streams. That song.
Yep. Wow.
Just that.
I'm like 900 of those. You're welcome. So
thanks, bro.
I got you.
You just looping it for him, or
just throwing it out there. You're doing another music video. I work for a hot dog and a high five. It's all good.
What are you gonna do in the music video?
That's just it. We are shooting a video for Lightning in a Bottle, probably starting in a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh.
And the cool thing about this video is we're going to put the hip hop artist in his element. We're going to put the reggae artist in his element, the country artist in their element. And then we're going to meet up at a red cup party for the video to finish it off. So you're going to see the rapper in his booth. He's going to be doing his thing. The reggae guy's going to be chilling with his guys, smoking spliffs and singing the song. and then I'm going to be in the barn or whatever around hay and rolling in the hay with my girl and things like that. And then it's going to show us all compiling to meet up at the same place to finish off the song and have a red cup party, right? Lower Gorge, actually.
Ooh.
We got drone shots coming in. So we got drone photographers coming in this time as well, so that we can get the people jumping off the diving boards down there and all that kind of stuff. Really cool shots, right? So
Man.
it's going to be dope.
That's
That's
cool.
crazy. Why, bear traps and lightning. It's my two bugaboos.
Yeah. If you need a couple of bearded guys wearing flannel for your country vibe,
absolutely. Listen, when we go to shoot the Red Cups party, because it's gonna be a party, you guys come down and hang for sure.
sick. Yeah, rad.
I'm
Totally
not jumping
down.
off anything. I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah, I'm not taking my shirt off though. That's not.
Yeah.
Party over.
You don't want his shirt off.
Party
They'll be like, okay, shut it down. Bigfoot's on set.
Cut. Just
Yeah.
from here. Just from here.
Tell the hairy guy to put his shirt back on.
Yeah, people be thrown up.
Yeah.
So we've got Jennifer Alvarado shooting her parts for Stars Collide down there. She's in the Carolinas. And my guy Kieran and I are going into Toronto because the song is about country moving to the city. So we're going to go into Toronto. I'm going to do some shots on the subway down in Kensington Market and getting on a Greyhound bus. And that's kind of going to be the storyline of me moving to the country. The hook is I was born in the city. She was born in the country.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man.
That's awesome.
Dude, that's exciting to hear about that kind of stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
That must be pretty awesome to. Yeah.
We're in the middle of that, and it's dope, man. It's dope.
Cool. Dude, that is so rad. Well, I don't know how I want to take up any more of your time. I know you're a busy guy. It's Friday afternoon. So go have a couple cold beers. We super appreciate your time.
I super appreciate your time. I had a blast, man. You guys are hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, we got a good time. And it's fun when we can hang out with people that we know. We just already love what you're doing, and so it's just cool to hang out. This was a fun one, man. So,
yeah, and if we can even just help promote you a little bit, anything we can do, man.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, you should edit this. Throw the video for Let It Roll in the front, and hey, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop and listen to She Said Hi, and let you guys vibe out to that. Edit that in, and things like that.
We'll do that right now. And we're back. This is all Ernie.
I heard it. It's amazing. What a song. Holy
Wow, that was so good,
changed
man.
my life, my guy.
Oh,
Changed
my God.
Life. Yeah.
I got Casey Kasem phoning.
Hey, do you think so? Would we get it taken down if we put music on it? What do you think?
No.
If we put this on Spotify,
permission, which you have. So in the video, what you can say is we have permission to play.
Yeah, but what about the audio though on Spotify? Like if we splice in the audio,
If I play like 35 or 45 seconds of it,
you can. I think you can.
because I think after 30 seconds, isn't that where the
Do you guys have a separate one? Do you upload to YouTube?
Yeah.
So do it on that one.
Okay.
But that's where the video goes. It's just to YouTube. So
Okay, well then you're fine. Now on Facebook, I don't know how Facebook works with
No. We don't do anything on
Facebook. We don't even the
Facebook.
the analytics are just not there.
I put the promotional stuff on the same thing I put on TikTok. I put on Facebook. So it's not really. We're not really. There's no demographic.
So then
there,
you're okay on YouTube. They won't block that. You might get flagged for it, maybe, but it's my flag, so don't worry about it.
So all the listeners right now that are on Google, Spotify, and anything else you're sharing the platform, jump on YouTube and go check out the episode. It would be like an hour and 17 minutes in, and you will watch the video.
No, don't tell them when it is. I'm going to delete that because I want them to listen to the whole goddamn episode.
Okay.
Guess when it is? I'm not telling you.
Just try to get on there.
Well, and the cool thing too, guys, is when you put it up on, because it's going to go up on Spotify, right? Your podcast.
Everything goes on everywhere. Goes everywhere. We're
okay.
Deezer. We're on
so
everywhere.
when you pop it up there, and you're going to tag the Whythouse in there as a collaborator of this podcast, it'll also, what it'll do is actually move. It might do it automatically for you, but it's going to move your podcast onto my Spotify page.
I don't know how I would do that, man.
Are you saying if I put the
actually-
song on there,
No, he's
that
talking
goes
about-
on Spotify? Or are you
he's
talking
talking
about the episode?
No, the episode, because if you say that I'm on there
Yeah.
and it tags me, I don't know how you
Yes.
upload it, but
Yes. I do know what you're talking about.
yeah. So, and the cool thing is on Spotify, I have 84,000 followers.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's nothing.
How many Russians you got on there?
Yeah.
A lot of Germans, actually.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Is it Deutschland?
Just kidding.
I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out.
No, it's just when you put his name in the title of the actual episode, it does that when you search up episodes for anything.
No, you can actually tag it, and then it will go right onto his.
That's
thing.
what I'm saying, though.
We're gonna
there's
figure it
gotta be a
out.
way to
I'll
tag
figure
it.
it out.
So
We'll
it'll show like is also on or featured on.
Yeah.
It shows the other podcasts that I'm on as well when it goes in there. And I can tell you right now, one guy called me the other day and he's like, man, my stream count is just through the roof. And it's like, you're welcome.
Ooh.
So do we tag Plexomatic or do we
No,
tag
Whythouse.
Oh, the
White
White
House? White House. Okay.
White House, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to figure that out.
And
And
for
when you go to the site, to listen to the record, it's the White House. It's not White House.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the White House.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Man, I'm gonna figure it out. All our
That's
listeners
awesome.
like, what the hell are you guys talking about right now?
Yeah.
I'm not
Well, you
telling.
guys can chop
Yeah.
this out anyway.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can edit.
Ernie can chop it out.
I make it.
And
sound
we're back. And we're back. You guys
Okay,
didn't
I
hear what
gotta
we were
do
talking
something
about.
real quick. I gotta
Yeah.
tell you, I gotta ask a question, and I want you to use this. I asked this of all the people that interview me:
Sure.
is what is it that made you decide to make a podcast?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna-
wanna tell it
I've
this
said
time?
this before. Ernie and I were on a podcast once, and I brought it up. So Ernie and I have always been involved with music. We've always, like, since we were 6 years old, music, performing, doing competitions for music, performing at in like bands, different types of bands. Ernie and I have been like in like 20, 15 bands. Like I've done music when I was in university. I had a band, so we've always done music and like that kind of performance. And so and in that you get really comfortable like performing or putting out content and stuff like that. So Ernie and I have always been like apt to do that, and like we've been on the spotlight like ever since we've been kids. So, and we love music and we love interacting, and so I went to school. I was going to go to school, you know this, for pastoral care, and I was going to be a preacher. I was going to do that, and I realized it was my calling. So I have a thing for like public speaking.
How did you get into the podcast, Jeremy?
Hang on, I'm getting there. So Ernie and I have always had a passion for this thing. So Ernie and I went on a radio show, and I said to Ernie that night, I said, "Hey,
Come check it out."
I'm going to be on the radio show, and it'll be fun." But I went on the radio show, and the guy didn't really want to do a lot of talking. He was like, "I'm not going to hang out and talk. I just want to play music." So we'd be chatting, and I wanted to get into it. I wanted to get into the music. I wanted to talk about some stuff. And he goes, so he'd say, "I'm going to be playing this music up next." I'm like, "Oh man, I love this track." And he would go, "That's cool. Here it is." Boom. And then he'd play it. And I'd be like, "Oh." And then you're sitting there.
I'm like, would you fucking say
and then
something?
you're sitting there for like a minute and a half. And then he was like, "Okay, the song's going to end. Are you ready?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's get into this." And so then he'd want to play another music. And I'd be like, "Man, that was a great track. I remember hearing that song when I was like driving my car one night." He goes, "Oh yeah, here's another song. Play it." And I was like, "Oh."
And I'm texting him
And
the
then
whole
I get
time.
a text. He's like, "Are you guys going to talk?" I'm like, "I guess he doesn't want to." Now, like, he's a friend of mine. His name's Riley, and he still does that radio show. But so then Ernie and I looked at each other. We're like, "Man, we could do this." I'm like, we could totally get into this. We could totally like start a podcast. And so it's going to be 4 years this
Yeah,
October.
you guys are on
We've
4.
been doing this, and we started it because we looked at each other. We're like, we love podcasts. Why not start one? We can just talk and like have fun, and we have like interesting things that we're into. Like we're all like we have different hobbies, and so we wanted to start it because we just looked at each other like, this would be fun to do. I think, and it was fun for me to go on the radio show, but it was like he didn't want to get into the stuff I wanted to get into, and then Ernie felt that same vibe. He's like, we could totally do this.
Yeah.
So,
I was like, we know some interesting people. I'm like, and if we don't, we just ask them. The worst thing they're going to say is no.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And,
You guys do a great job. I try and catch them as much as I can, and trust me, I have. I just I think you guys are hilarious. I think you guys actually ask really good questions because a lot of podcasts have these very fucking generic, typical, they don't want the insight. They just want the meat and potatoes and have a nice fucking day, right? They're not really they're not looking for that, what makes this guy tick or this shrink tick or this tattoo artist tick or whatever it is that you have on. Um like that paranormal one you guys did. Fuck, that was dope.
Oh, that
Right?
was like I couldn't believe that one.
Which one?
It was
Which
dope.
The one, Melissa.
Oh, the Melissa one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it.
she's
I thought
so
it was
sweet.
fantastic. I was like, man, these guys should do more of these, get more of these people on. Because it's interesting.
Yeah, and then so Ernie and I are kind of skeptics, and this kind of makes it fun to kind of go.
Because I was like, I want to ask questions without coming across as a dick and being like, so are we full of it or do we
Did you
really
hear the
believe
monks?
this?
Did you hear those monks?
Yeah,
in
did you hear the
background?
monks? And it was like, that's the fucking dryer.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate like you, like someone like you, like listening and then saying you listen to it, appreciating it, because it's like we kind of just go off in our own little world. And the key for us with having the podcast is like when we ask the questions, we really just want to make a new friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We literally like
It's
want
like
to make.
Genuinely want to know.
Right? It's very Seinfeld. And that's the best way to interview people. What I mean is Seinfeld was like, remember the show Seinfeld?
Yeah, of course.
It was about nothing, but was about something. So it was very, very laxed and chill and comedic and, informative in its own way and things like that. So it's not rehearsed. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
It's
Yeah.
very,
No.
it's not generic shit that you guys are doing here. And this is amazing, right? And just keep up what you're doing because eventually it's going to do you well. I think you guys should really be shooting higher. Look for people that are really kicking it, and just say, hey, we want you on our podcast. No? Oh, well, you're losing out because you got to act like that with them people, right?
Right. You're
Leland
right.
Chapman, we're throwing it out there. Get your ass on the podcast.
Oh my
That's
god.
right.
Dude. No.
Yeah.
No. Oh,
Dog the Bounty Hunter's son. Get on here.
man,
You know what you should do? You should try and get maybe get a Hell's Angel or an outlaw or
We did.
something.
The problem with
Did
that,
that already?
We have.
Yeah,
We've
we
done
have.
that.
Yeah, we have.
I missed it.
Yep. Man,
we
well,
did.
like, not to say you don't listen to the podcast, but like we shoot for the moon. Like I've been in contact with like the BBC, talking to like their
was trippy.
like their promoters and talking to agents and stuff, back and forth emails. Like we like I agree with you. Ernie and I we shoot for the moon, and like
That's actually funny. That was our best no we've ever gotten.
yeah. And just off of your same story with your lady from Bell, like we
Yeah.
took that no, and then we took it instead not a loss but a learning experience because I emailed her back after. So we had Sue come on from the TV show Life Below Zero. She's been on Joe Rogan. She's been on Ellen. We had her come on our podcast, and so I had to go through some hoops. And the lady who is her person said no because she's basically said to me, "No offense, you're not Joe Rogan. You're not Ellen." She goes on those kind of TV shows and stuff. And I said, okay, but why? Why wouldn't what would be something? How could we get someone like that on? And she was like, thanks, sir. She's like, okay, like let's talk about this. And so she sent me an email, sent me feedback. We went through it. And I said, you know what? I really appreciate all the feedback. And she gave us again, she said, I actually listened to your podcast and you guys do a really good job. I was like, oh my God, the no turned into a win. Mind you, ended up
Yeah, so then you went around.
and mind you, I ended up going around her because, like we have a great vibe. And then Sue actually was like, heard the podcast. She goes, I'm coming on anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I want to come talk to you guys.
Yeah,
We're going to be, I want to, like, exactly what I said. We're here to make friends. She's like, I would love to be friends with you guys. So the no ended up being like, just like cool stuff.
You should hit up like George St. Pierre or somebody like that. George Chuvalo. George Chuvalo, the boxer that fought Muhammad Ali in the Gardens.
Yep.
Like he's local.
Yeah.
I want to talk to George Stroumboulopoulos. I want him to talk shit about Saturday Night Hockey. I want to hear how that went.
Yeah.
And that's the fun thing is like
think of the stories that guy would have.
Right?
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we do, man. We got
Fantastic.
bangers. We got bangers.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Dude, thanks for your time. go have a cold beer with your wife. Enjoy your day.
Yeah,
You just got off work. And we appreciate your time and your music.
Hopefully we have
Appreciate
like a
you guys.
garage hangout time sometime soon here.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
See you over at
Let's
the
do it.
old beep this out. You gonna beep it out?
No, I
Shaver?
don't even say it.
No. Hang out with the old boys.
Yes.
Let's do it. We'll talk
Dude.
soon, boys.
Yeah.
All right,
take
buddy.
it easy, man. See ya.
Peace.